It's a plane. It's just my dad. My dad. My dad.
Moving through the street with swagger and ease. Often works to job to take care of my needs. Taking it all in stride. Daddy seldom complain. His emotions so high. All his aches and pains stays up in his head about what must be done. Taking no time off. Daddy stays on the run. He's my dad and I love him. With him I have no fear. Because anytime I need him, I know Daddy's right here. Daddy's right here. Daddy seldom gets credit. We don't see all that he does. What's important to us is always showing Daddy love. His love sometimes tough to learn why to go wild. Our relationship's special on a dad and child. Facing his responsibilities, making it do what it do. Physically and emotionally available, yeah, Daddy's coming through. He's my dad and I love him. With him I have no fear. Because anytime I need him, I know Daddy's right here. Daddy's right here. Nothing easy about fatherhood. Protecting us is all the no good. Most of the time he gets it right. He'll usually see the light. He'll take his problems to God. Sometimes we'll pray together. The most gracious, most merciful one. With him the storms will weather. He's my dad and I love him. With him I have no fear. Because anytime I need him, I know Daddy's right here. Daddy's right here. Daddy's right here. Here. What's going on, y'all? What's happening? What's popping? I can tell you what's dropping. Another episode of Daddy's Right Here Live. I'm your host, as always, Sabir Aline. Another great one. Yeah, underlying anger. How many of y'all walk around pissed off with your partner, but your partner knows nothing about it? How many of you harbor resentments, don't even discuss it, and wonder why your relationship is where it is? We're going to talk about that and more today. Stay tuned. He wasn't no Rolling Stone. Daddy was bad to the bone. He never rolled with many. He tends to roll alone. With all he's been through, Daddy always stayed the course. Living life on its terms. God is his go-to source. He turned his life around. What's going on, Liam? Kendall, what's happening? Dawn to Dust, what's going on? Hensley. Thank y'all for tuning in this morning. TikTok, y'all show all the love. Thank you for tuning in. I know Daddy's right here. Daddy's right here. And to all my YouTube people, what's happening? Daddy's right here. He's my daddy. He's my daddy. He's my daddy. Daddy's right here. Daddy's right here. He's my daddy. He's my daddy. He's my daddy. Daddy's right here. Daddy's right here. Daddy's right here. Yeah. And again, welcome to another episode of Daddy's Right Here Live. I'm your host, as always, Sabir Aline. Yeah, it's a whole lot going on this week, right? Yeah, a lot of changes, a lot of administrative decisions, and a lot of people up in arms. But before you get up in arms, make sure you understand what it is that you're getting up in arms about. Stop going along to get along. Stop just jumping on bandwagons and riding on other people's narratives, thinking that you know what's going on. And at the end of the day, everything can go on and it don't even matter. It don't even matter, right? What's up? What's up? What's going on, y'all? What's happening? So, anger, right? A lot of us have these little underlying issues with our partners and don't say anything about it. We walk around, we harbor all of this, something happens, and you internalize it. You become hostile about it. You want to argue about it. You want to debate about it. And then when the other person thinks it's over, it really isn't over. It's something that you just want to carry within yourself. But it's not the other person, it's you. It's really you. But you don't want to accept that. And that's where the problem is. You don't want to accept that it's you. You don't want to accept that you need to do something different, that you need to take a different approach, right? Because it's easy to blame somebody else. It's easy to want to keep bringing more people in and out of your life, destroying their lives, destroying possibly good relationships simply because you don't want to change. So, the topic today, which we, as always, go to Psychology Today, Seth Gilliam, PhD, 8 signs of being secretly angry at a partner. Secretly angry. So it's not the fact that you're oblivious to it because you know, but everybody else around you, right, has no clue. But most importantly, your partner doesn't know. Unacknowledged feelings of frustration or resentment can leak out in many ways. So you always leaving your partner wondering what's going on with you. Why do we keep coming to this same point and always arguing and debating? Why don't we just sit down to talk about it and bring resolve to it? I thought it was dealt with. I thought it was over. That's what I thought as your partner. I thought that we had come to the conclusion that we needed to do better, or this is what the outcome was going to be. And we're here again and again and again and again. So it leaks out. It leaks out. And it leaks out at different points in times. So if you ever had a slow leak in a tire, sometimes you can have a nail in your tire for years. For years. But what you continue to do is just, I don't need to get it plugged. I keep putting more air in. And each time I put more air in it, more air slowly leaks out. But I'm good with that. As long as I can keep rolling, because that's what the intent is. The intent is to keep rolling. So every time you're confronted with this particular issue that you have within you that the other person knows nothing about, every time you come to this point, the conversation puts just a little more air in the tire. Just a little more air in the tire because we've talked about it. truly committed to something, right, you make every effort to bring about a change. Okay, we back up over here. Restore. Oh, stay signed out. This season adds. Whoops. Sorry, y'all. Okay, I lost my place on this here. Bear with me for a second, y'all. Here we go. Restore. Bear with me. Bear with me. So when you look at things trickling out, it always comes down to underlying issues. And underlying issues is a matter of uh, you just haven't sought to address it in an appropriate manner. Bear with me, y'all. I'm trying to do not two things at one time. I need to focus on this for a minute. Okay, here we go. Looking underneath the source of your anger. Here it is. Okay, so it switched up on me today. All right. Hold the phone. Okay, so all right. Okay, so an estimated 90% of aggressive incidents are preceded by anger, right? So when you start looking at what happens in a relationship, right? When they talk about incidents, they're talking about some level of confrontation that isn't necessarily physical, but it's emotional, it's intimidating, it's aggressive. And it's only a matter of time before it comes to blows. It comes to a physical confrontation, right? And a lot of times people don't know how to confront their own issues. Therefore, they confront you, which often triggers your issues. Your issues with, well, being yelled at, being talked to like a child, being belittled, being degraded, feeling disrespected. For men especially, disrespect, right, is the epitome of failed relationships. To men, respect is equated to love. You can sit down all day long and tell us how much you love us, blow us all these wonderful kisses, ride it till the wheels fall off. But at the end of the day, if you're not showing us respect, it doesn't matter. None of it matters. So being disrespected by a woman for men is like a red flag. And once that red flag gets raised, right, it's hard to get it down. Once we don't trust you, once we have a sense that there's no loyalty from you, not loyalty by your choosing, loyalty by our standards as men, setting boundaries with others, not entertaining certain relationships that are deemed to be unhealthy for our relationship, and a host of other things. Those things are disrespectful, right? And if you don't understand that, then it'll be perceived by you as being controlling, as being jealous, and a host of other negative things. And how do you interpret that? How do you internalize that? And how do you react to it? So we often trigger each other. But if your only focus is on what triggers you and what makes it difficult for you, then you'll never see the other person's side. Then there'll never be any resolve to anything. Why are you angry at me? Well, because I thought you were going to. Did you ask me that? No, but I just thought that you should know that. Why wouldn't you know that as my man, as my wife? Why wouldn't you know these things? We've been together 3 years. How come you don't know these things about me? How come you forget these things all the time? How come you are still doing this and still doing that after all the years? And I keep telling you this, that, and the other about it. Well, how significant is it to the relationship? Is it just a pet peeve for you that you can't find resolve within yourself about? Because a lot of things that we're angry about are things that we want, things that we expect, instead of asking for it. Now, if you ask for it and it gets rejected, then that's something totally different. That's something totally different. But if you're not asking for something and you're just expecting that a person is going to do this or do that because this is what you think a man is supposed to do, or a woman is supposed to do, or a husband, a wife, you go down that list of where these expectations are within you, and you hold somebody else to that standard. You can't hold me to some damn standard that you came up with. I should be holding myself to a standard. You should see the standards that I hold myself to. You shouldn't see a position for yourself where you can change my standards to be better, to be more appeasing, to be to your liking. No, it's not going to happen that way. My job is not to change my partner. My job is to protect, nurture, care for, guide, lead. That's my job. Right? So if there's a characteristic that exists, first thing I need to do is accept that that's that person. I need to accept that first and foremost. If it's something that affects us, then it's a conversation. If it's something that keeps me from being able to provide that which I just listed to her, then it's a conversation. If you put yourself in harm's way, right, you're putting us in harm's way. You're putting me in a position where I have to react to something. If I react to something, right, then you want to look at me like I'm crazy because I reacted to something which I told you will put you in harm's way. When you allow when you allow the opposite sex, well, when you allow an individual to approach you in a flirting manner and you don't check it from the gate, right? You leave the door open for possibilities. You may not have any intention on anything, but the other person has intentions. The other person has intentions. So when you don't check it, you're saying, oh, it's okay. I'll accept that today. And depending on the space that you're in, will really determine how you respond or react to the flirt, whatever it is. Right? If I say something to you about what it is that you're wearing, well, and you don't like it because you think that, well, you telling me how to dress is being controlling. No, me saying something to you about what you have on is not telling you how to dress. What I'm saying to you is from my perspective as a man as to what it draws. Just like you know women, I know men. But oftentimes, it's not accepted by women in any capacity other than being controlling. So my response to that, for instance, one time my wife had she wasn't my wife at the time, but she had a bathing suit, and she was going to wear this bathing suit. I was like, no, you don't have to wear something around that, over that, something, right? You know, she didn't make it didn't turn to a big issue, but as a matter of fact, so my response then was, okay, you wear that, I'm gonna get me a banana boat. How about that? Kind of changes the course of how things are going to go right now. Because if I don't like what it is that you have on because I feel like it would attract this, that, and the other, well, it's mine. You're exposing all of this, and that's not. I'm going to go ahead and get me a slingshot, and that's what I'm gonna wear to the beach. Kind of changes the game. So if that's how you want to go with it, then, and not that I would, but that the mindset is that if this is where you're going with things, right, then I'm going to go the same direction. You don't want me going that way, so why would you take that route? And oftentimes that'll start a conversation on why you have that expectation. Because a lot of times, like I said, it doesn't happen. Whereas we sit down and talk about the differences in thinking between men and women. We talk about the differences in our thoughts about the issue, and that's why we have so much conflict, because men think differently than women and vice versa. But we don't have those kind of conversations. We have conversations on the issue. And then we have conversations on the issue, people begin to label you based on your response, your reactions, your thought process about that particular matter. What doesn't matter? It shouldn't. It should enhance your understanding of who your partner is, their values, their morals, their beliefs, their worldview. Because they don't share yours, that makes it a problem. Well, herein lies the problem. And this is where your anger begins to build, because you want this person to think and be and do like you. And it's not going to happen. I'm pretty much a neat freak. I'm not like obsessed with it, but if I use something, I put it back in its place. In its place. If I got it from the third shelf, that's where I'm going to put it back. So when I go back to look for it, when I'm making my dish, whatever it is, I'm going to that shelf. Everybody in this house don't do that. So I got to find things sometimes. I got to go look for things sometimes. I got to get pissed sometimes because I can't find it. Right? Who does that affect when I get pissed that I can't find it? Nobody in that moment. It doesn't affect anybody until I make an argument about it, until I bring it to somebody's attention. Is that going to change? Oftentimes, no. Oftentimes, no. So you have to surrender. I come downstairs in the morning. I got to fold up blankets, put pillows and stuff back, because that's what I do. When I get up, I try to make sure I put these things away unless I intend to return to it. Right? Everybody doesn't do that. But people develop anger over that. People get angry because they have to keep doing it. They have to keep doing it. When you surrender to the fact that this is what happens, this is who this person is, it makes life easier. So I just take my behind down there. When I go up, I just fold stuff up and put it away. It's a simple thing. If there are things that I use regularly, I make sure that I put them in a place where people don't have access to it like that. So that way I can always access it and know where it is. I don't have to go through those changes. When it is moved, I still have to accept the fact that I am who I am and I do what I do. But just those are just a couple of examples. When you look at your relationship as a whole, you have to ask yourself, why are you getting angry? Because anger takes thought. It doesn't act independently of thinking. It doesn't act independent of values, beliefs, and morals. It doesn't act independently. It doesn't. And when it does, that means that you have separated your consciousness of others' humanity and made everything about you, if that makes sense. So the world evolves around you. You don't practice understanding instead of trying to be understood. You want to be understood and not understand. It's a my way or the highway kind of mindset, uh, a very self righteous perspective of life. That's what you actually find yourself being. Very self righteous people don't hear what others have to say because they believe their way is the only way. And usually they come to that conclusion because of an incident, which is where we begin this conversation. An incident. People go and get saved. People go and find God. People find the Lord in the most precarious of situations. Usually situations that they've created for themselves, place themselves in, and wants God to get them out of it. And once coming out of it, they only return to that which they know best, which is their own thinking. So it's always an incident that motivates one to change. For the better, for the worse, doesn't matter. But if you continue that way over time, you're filled with resentments. You're filled with anger. It's a sister who posts on social media all the time. She's been posting for years. Very bitter, very bitter. And it's always towards men because she's had so many failed relationships. That attitude alone speaks volumes, but she will never see it. She will never see it. She will never see the trauma that she projects on social media, let alone that she projects to others who try to come into her personal space. She'll never see it. Always argumentative, always confrontational, always questioning, always negative. You won't find anybody who's going to accept any of that. Nobody. And people who do, who find you attractive, only wind up in a situation where they just sleep with you. Because beyond that, it's just chaos. It's just crazy. Listen, it's not my job to make you healthy. It's not my job to counsel you. It's not my job to make you happy. Anything that I bring to the table should enhance what already exists with you. It should already exist. So if I'm looking for somebody to make me happy, that's a problem. If I'm looking for somebody to heal me from what others have done to me in the past, that's a problem. If you have an expectation that somebody has to fulfill your hopes, dreams, and aspirations, that's a problem. That's a problem. What you bring to the table should be just as bountiful as what you're expecting somebody else to bring. I'm not bringing my paycheck, my credit cards, my material things. I'm not putting my wealth on the table and laying it out. So here, this is what I have. No, me, my humanity is what's most important. How I treat you, how I talk to you, how I confront certain situations as they arise. When incidents happen between us, how do I respond to them? How do I react to them? What is my involvement with your children if you have children? Those things should be of the utmost importance. Why? Because all of those things are affected no matter which way this relationship goes. If it goes south, then everything that I had contact with, your humanity, your children, all of those things are now negatively affected because you won't take responsibility for the negative attitude that you have about change. And then what you do is you condition those around you to believe that this is how life is. Here you go, another man, no good. Not looking at the fact that you treated me like I was no good from the gate because of the no good ones you had before me. You think I should heal you from them. So now we have children who believe that you're going to be in and out of relationships, that a person needs to do this for you, a person needs to do that for you. This is what happens. This is why we have splintered families. This is why we have continued failed relationships. This is why we have no interest at all in marriage. And next week I'm gonna actually do a show on marriage. Hey, Doc B, can you jump in here? You want to jump in, author Doc B? I'd love to have you this morning. Been trying to get back to you on during the show. Just punch in there if you want to join in. I'll put you on here this morning. We're talking about anger and processing anger and understanding anger this morning. It's something that can really take you into a place that is hard to get out of. It's really hard to get out of. So let's go to the article. Let's talk about some of the key points here in the article. An estimated 90% of aggressive incidents are preceded by anger. We covered that point. Anger is largely perceived as a secondary emotion. Anger shows up when a person feels the need to defend themselves. It is a sign that something needs attention, right? Something needs attention. What needs attention? And like I was saying, it's always a matter of deflecting. It's not me, it's you. You're the one who needs to do this, and you're the one who needs to do that. You're the one, who needs to jump in here and change this, or I'm leaving. So let's go to the article. Learning to look beneath the blanket of anger can lead to a deeper understanding of ourselves and more compassionate, authentic interactions with people in our lives. Anger is an emotion we're all familiar with. We've all been disappointed and hurt and felt used, threatened, or let down. When anger shows up, we experience physical symptoms like muscle tension, a knot in the stomach, a sudden racing heartbeat. Anger never feels good, and it often leads to unpleasant interactions with others, with damaging negative consequences. Anger is a negative emotion like jealousy, hate, and sometimes sadness. Anger can be explosive, violent, and destructive, right? And this is what it's talking about, learning to look beneath the blanket. If you're walking around every day and you're feeling all tensed up, you always snapping, you're always irritated, there's something to that. There's something to that. You can't, you can, but you can't keep walking around in life feeling that way and taking it out on everybody because people are going to stay away from you. Your most loved family members are going to stay away from you. And I know you can think of somebody right now, no matter when you see them, they seem to be always angry. No matter what it is that you say to them, no matter how positive the event, the environment, they're always angry. They're always angry. And what it talked about in this article is that anger can create physical symptoms. Mental health is greatly affected. You have to understand the whole person is affected by anger. It consumes you. It dictates your existence. You have to understand what anger does, man. It rapes you of joy. It rapes you of the freedom of living a life riddled with strife. It just rapes you of just life, man. And it's just nothing. You're gonna it's going to be so difficult of a life, and you have to understand that. So if you're angry because you had this kind of childhood, it's time for you to do some work on that. It's time for you to move forward. If you're angry because of something somebody didn't do for you that was you in a relationship with, it's time to let it go. And especially when it comes to having children together, because this is a great problem in our society today. We have so many households that are single parent driven. So many. Children are forced to make a decision which parent to love, to feel close to. Sometimes the child is closer to the parent who they don't live in the home with. And a lot of times it has to do with what happened between the parents. And we don't want to look at that. We don't want to look at when we sit around and call the other parent all by all kind of names that they are not their birth names, right? When we talk negatively about them to the child The child has to internalize all of that. This child eventually turns into an adult. Now, this adult child has all this anger because of what you told them about the other parent. And then you don't want to own it now. You don't want to help the child heal because you need to protect your own self. You need to make yourself still look like you this good person. But you made decisions in this situation too. You selected that person. You slept with that person. You got pregnant by that person. You allowed this person to impregnate you. The very person who you say all these bad things about now, it's a problem. It's a problem. And you have to look at all of these things. And you're angry because that person is with somebody else. Because the family life that you envisioned was me, you, and the child. That's not going to happen. So now you're mad at the other person for not fulfilling that which you had in your mind, that which you desired to do. Did you look at the role you played and why it's not that way? Have you ever thought about how you can change that relationship now? Oh, no, you may never be boyfriend and girlfriend, husband and wife again. But can you co-parent and have a healthy relationship between the two of you? So the child can be healthy? So the child won't make those same mistakes? And even if they do make those mistakes, they know how to deal with those things appropriately? Where the other parent just doesn't disappear, fall off the planet because of your bad attitude? Because you can't move past your anger? Because every interaction has to turn out to be name calling, police calling? And I talk a lot about the relationship between parents and children because it's something I experienced and millions of others have experienced. And that is often one of the barriers in people having successful relationships with others. If you have a male dominated home over a female, right? That female is going to have a different response to the world. If you have a female dominated environment where there's a male being raised, that male is going to react to the rest of the world the same as they had with that female parent. They're going to not like being yelled at. They're going to feel like they're being controlled. That they don't. It's a whole lot of ways that the sexes are impacted by the raising of a single parent. A woman can't teach a boy how to be a man. She can teach him how to be a good person. She can transfer to that boy child her expectations of what she wants from men, which could very well be a mistake. But she can't teach him how to be a man. A man can't teach a girl how to be a woman. He can teach that girl how to be a good person. I've never been a woman. I've never professed to be a woman. Therefore, I have no idea of how it feels inside for my little girl coming into being a woman, other than the usual things, the cycle, pregnancy, relationships with boys, the kind of boy I used to be, what boys want. Beyond that, I can't teach my daughter anything about womanhood. All my daughters, all I have is daughters. I have 6 daughters. All of them have done well for themselves in relationships. They've done fine in relationships. They have standards. They have expectations. That's as far as I can go. Teach them how to be good people. Respect your mother. Respect your father. Respect yourself. And don't just let anybody slide anything under the table. Call people on stuff. But it says that anger never feels good. So if you're walking around every day, all tensed up and agitated, pressure all the way up, and that's how you spend your day, you don't feel good. And people who don't feel good, right, treat everybody and everything around them badly. They don't appreciate anything. They're not receptive to any joy because they always find something bad about it. They always find something negative about it. It's not something that they desire to have. They don't desire to have that. And it says that anger is an emotion we're all familiar with. We're all familiar with, and is referred to as being a secondary emotion. So for males retain a concrete bunker inside that holds everything because we're taught to suppress everything, not complain, not cry, not hurt, just get it done and work through all that other stuff. So by the time we get to the point of getting angry, it's an explosion. And it said that here, an explosive, violent, and destructive. That's what often happens. And so you got to look at these things. And again, it comes down to understanding gender, how we're raised as males, how girls are raised, and then understanding our humanity on top of all of that. So a secondhand emotion, let's talk about that for a minute. Back to the article. Most of us, at least, most of us have at least one regret about acting out in anger. And most of us would love to know how to better handle ourselves and our interactions with others when we're angry. Let's look at exactly what we're dealing with. The American Psychological Association defines anger as a negative feeling state that is typically associated with hostile thoughts, physiological arousal, and maladaptive behaviors. So let's stop there. Hostile thoughts. Excuse me. You and I are in a relationship together. No matter how long it is we've been together, why would you have hostile thoughts about me? Why? That's the first thing that you need to look at when you're looking under that blanket of anger. We've been married for a period of time. Why would you be having hostile thoughts about your spouse? I don't care what, listen, if they're not putting their hands on you, if this is something that doesn't involve any of that kind of stuff, why would you be thinking hostile towards me? What would be your justifications for being hostile, for having hostile thoughts? Like, I just want to punch this. Now, it's things that happen. I get it. In some relationships where somebody did something and you felt like in that moment you were betrayed, you felt like you were disrespected. I get all of that. But you really feel like in that moment that you wanted to punch me in my face, that you wanted to slap the hell out of me. There's something wrong with this picture because I should never feel like I want to put my hands on you. Ever. The thought shouldn't cross my mind that I just wanted, it should never cross my mind. Why is it happening now? Why do I feel that way? There's some unresolved there about something or a compilation of something that you have allowed to just build, that you have just harbored throughout a period of time. But instead of you confronting them, you just let it build. There's no reason you should be having hostile thoughts towards a person who you profess to love unless we have an incident of abuse, especially physical abuse. Emotional abuse is included and mental abuse is included in it. Then, okay. But the other part to that is if this has been happening, why are you still there? Yeah. If somebody is mentally, physically, spiritually abusing you, why are you still there? Because you only get one shot with me, right? Because I'm going to help you along the way to see how your behavior is abusive. Whether you want to internalize it, accept what I'm saying to you or not is entirely up to you. But I'm not going to allow you to continue to abuse me in any capacity. I don't treat me like that. I'm not going to let you treat me like that. So that's something to be looked at. You got one time to put your hands on me. Just one. Just one. So you have to look at those things too. Because an abusive person will continue to push the envelope again and again and again. When a person puts their hands on you, when a person thinks it's okay to talk to you in a particular manner and you allow it, when a person gets out of pocket and you don't say anything about it, you've left the door open. More is coming. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. But you form an opinion against a gender as opposed to the individual. It's just like racism, right? We don't want to be clumped in one group together, right? But we are. Why do we clump others together? Why do we say that all whites are this? Why do we say that all whites are that? That's not true. That's not true. It's not a true statement. You address the enemy as they present themselves, regardless of what they look like, regardless of race, creed, religion, lack thereof, the whole, yeah. That's how you approach things. When you find yourself approaching every woman, every man in that capacity who seeks to be romantic, intimate, or whatever with you, just maybe just friendly. When you find yourself responding to everybody in that guarded, aggressive manner, your life is stuck until you get yourself off that sticky pad. That's where you're going to be. Everybody's going to always be subjected to your bad behavior. It's a choice to feel that way. It's a choice to walk around and be resentful of all men because you've had some bad men and not looking at the fact of, first of all, you chose them. Second of all, you made a contribution to the difficulties in a relationship simply because of your perspective of men. Now, you want me to come along and you want me to heal that thinking? You want me to come along and you want me to battle against that thinking? You want me to come along and change your mind about something that you have deeply embedded within yourself? I don't think so. I don't think so. Anger is widely recognized, the article, by mental health professionals as a secondary, what I refer to as a blanket emotion. Mental health professionals. Anger is natural. Sometimes it motivates us to change. Sometimes it motivates us to keep on that same pathway of destruction as you talked about earlier in the article. Sometimes it can be a jarring experience for us to say we need to do something different. Anger on the rise. Back to the article. With daily reports of heated confrontations in airports, grocery stores, and other normally neutral settings, it is clear that anger is on the rise. According to Gallup's, which is a poll, annual global emotions report, in 2020, the world was a sadder, angrier, more worried, and more stressed out place than it has been at any time in the past 15 years. Now, this was a 2020 report, right? In the past 15 years. So from 2005 to 2020, this poll was taken and it concluded that the world was a sadder, angrier, worried, and more stressed place to be. 2020 to now, 5 years later, what do you think has changed in that condition? Anger. Anger has risen. Yeah. So anger rises. How does your anger rise? It becomes violent. It becomes violent. So now we're looking at a more violent approach to worldly things that take place. Right? When we look at January 6th, anger elevated to violence. People are tired. People are sick and tired of what's happening at the federal level of our government. Right? You look at communities where we have more killing than ever. Right? Why is it happening? Because anger has evolved into its next level of violence. So now we're going to have more and more violence. So does it go to another level? Absolutely. Absolutely. It goes to mayhem, where there will be no peace. Don't that sound familiar? For you book readers, doesn't this all sound familiar? So we're on course. Every event that continues to happen in this world continues to elevate our anger. What do you think it does to a relationship? Depending on who you are and your approach to living, you're concerned about worldly events. You're concerned about worldly events. You're concerned what happens when I go out, and are me and my family going to be subjected to this? Do I have to exercise my Second Amendment? Do I have to learn the amendments now because I'm confronted with so many different situations where my First Amendment, my Second Amendment, my Third, Fourth, Sixth Amendment, people are attempting to impede upon them. It's all intentional. It's all systematically being done. But the question is, how do you respond to it? How do you react to these things? That's the question. How do you react to these things? Because the way you're reacting is usually shown by the people closest to you. And again, it goes back to understanding gender. What males are subjected to versus that which females are subjected to in our society. There's a lot that you have to really think about when you think about all the things that are currently going on in the White House, right? When you think of weather conditions that happen depending on where you live, right? The northern states are getting, really cold weather, really bitter weather. The Midwest, the Western states are getting the heat. Then when you start going down towards the southern states are getting the floods, massive rain, and all those things. And then you have Florida. Florida's in there somewhere. But you have all these things to contend with. We have hurricane season that we know is coming every year. And we get prepared. We pack this up. We pack that up. Do you know the level of stress it takes to keep up with all these kind of things and how those things impact you? Think about all those things. Think about what your wife has to contend with as a woman in the work field, in the workforce, depending on what it is that she does, what it is she has to contend with, right? In many of the environments, they're male dominated environments. What does she have to contend with? Think about that. And then she has to come home to you, another male dominated environment, which is supposed to be the leader, the king, right? But he's not separate from a male dominated environment just because he's your husband, because he's your boyfriend. He's still part of that in your mind. In your mind. And in reality. Because that's how we're separated out. So if men act this way in the workplace, if men act this way in the school, if men act this way here, and men act this way there, well, he's a man too. He may not act this way, but does it mean that it's non-existent with him as a male? Is this something that men do? Is this what males do? Is this what being with the male means? You have to think this through. If you're going to move past your anger, you got to think this whole thing through. You control no one. You can't even stop yourself from trying to control somebody. So how are you going to change somebody else's behavior so they can stop doing something when you can't even stop yourself? Article. It's most definitely not about the cheese or the long line in the grocery check. Let me go back because that's a. One merchant described an encounter with an enraged customer. You're looking at someone and thinking, I don't think this is about the cheese. It's most definitely not about the cheese or the long line at the grocery checkout or the bad driver in the parking lot or wherever and however else anger shows up. It's about that secondary blanket emotion of anger and what lies beneath it. And there's no better time than here and now to learn how to understand what's going on. Right? So it's important to understand. This is what I was just telling you. This has more to do with I've been standing in line all this time and da, 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 da. It has more to do with all of that. It has more to do with your world view. That's why they consider the mental health professionals consider anger to be a blanket, a secondary emotion because it's always present. Even when you think it's not there, it's always present. So if you're in a situation where you're interacting with someone who doesn't look like you, what is your underlying thinking about this person? First thing you say to yourself is, well, I'm not racist. I didn't say you were racist. But what do you think when you have someone white who stands in front of you and they're coming at you with this slick mouth? Are you thinking this is a racist? Or are you thinking here is an incident that is unappealing to both? Here is an incident that happened that was an accident. It was an accident, right? They ran to the back of your car. You get out, they're white. You want to automatically go off. You want to automatically go on your thinking. Oh, they did it on purpose. Oh, I know she saw me. Oh, they just hate black people. You go into all of that and say, looking at this was a person that accidentally ran to the back of your car. If you were looking at it any other way, that's why it's considered a secondary emotion. Because you're harboring things. We're all harboring things. We're all harboring things. Whether it's directly related to the person in front of us or it's the world view. And this is why people are so bent out of shape right now because of things that the president is penning into existence. Right? First thing you do is get angry. You don't even understand the ramifications of it. You just think anything that's that appears to be anti-black is racist. It's a racist action. You automatically think that. You automatically think anything that happens is going to be to the detriment of black folks. You automatically think that. Every situation that happens is not racist. When you look at DEI, when you look at the recent penning of the order to stop federal segregation and all that kind of, look at it before you jump on a bandwagon of others who think like you do, right? And your thinking came as a result of you following them. Take a look at others' thinking and see what, if anything, that really affects and how it actually affects anything. Then you have to look at through a global lens of where's the benefit, how to respond to, and or react to that decision. When people make decisions, you have to make a decision. You understand? So if you don't like your job, if you're uncomfortable at your job, if the environment at your job is not appealing to you, what do you do about that? Do you become angry and start acting out in the environment and lose your job? Or do you start looking for another job and leave that job when you find another job, but leave that with respect in case you ever have to go back, in case you ever have to use anybody there for any reason? But when you're angry, first thing you do is start idle chatter with others at the workplace. Oh, they doing this to me, they doing that to me, and this. No, that's a conversation you have at home. You have that conversation at home. You have that conversation with a confidant. You have that conversation with a mentor, because what you want is to know how to get through this, how to work through this, how to navigate through this situation respectfully, retaining your morals, your values, and your beliefs about things. It's just a situation that is just not going to work for me anymore. That's it. Business is business. It's just not going to work for me anymore. And you move on. Just like a relationship. Relationships don't always end because somebody has to be a bad person. My marriages ended because it was two good people together in a situation that just didn't work out. That's your reality. Why should I spend my life bashing somebody else because, they decided they wanted to do this, or they wanted to do that, or they wanted to keep for this, or they wanted to keep to that? None of them was about infidelity. But you have that right. You have the right to remain who you are. I have the right to walk away from it because it's not for me. I have to keep me healthy first. So why do you have to walk around years later and still mad at the mother of your children because she made a decision to do whatever it was that she did and moved on to the next chapter? It is so confusing how we get mad because somebody gives away to somebody else something that ultimately belongs to them. Infidelity is just that. You violated you. You violated you when you went outside of the relationship. You didn't violate me. You violated you. Start there. That's yours to do whatever you want to with it. You said that you wanted a monogamous relationship. You said that it was going to be just you and I, and that's how you roll. That's what you said. So you violated you when you stopped with that thinking of monogamy and decided to be with somebody else. I'm going to let you go because I'm staying to what I said I was going to stay to. So you got to go. It's easy. It's simple. No apology for it. Apologies not accepted. Bye. So that's what they choose to do. They violated themselves. So you just move on from that. We still have to parent. We ain't sleeping together no more. We ain't husband and wife no more. We ain't girlfriend and boyfriend no more. That's dead. Why are you still gonna be mad about that? That person did that to themselves. They didn't do that to you. They did it to themselves. They lost out. They lost a good thing. They lost out on that. Why are you mad? But you do it. And the children suffer. But you're suffering because you continue to carry that. And every time that person's around, they cause a shift within you, within your spirit. And you still allow them to do that. And then because you feel that, remember, anger leaks out all the time because you don't feel good about that situation. You haven't let it go. You make it known to that other person. I still don't like you. What? It's been a year. It's been 2 years. It's been 5 years. Why? But you say in the same breath, you effed up. What do you mean? Well, because you lost a good thing. If you know that, why are you angry? Why? I'm not saying you shouldn't be hurt because, promises were made. You had expectations. You had part of your life on lockdown for this situation, believing that it was going to be something else. I for the life of me, can't understand because people keep asking me, they say, well, how did you wind up getting married 5 times? Because I just got married my 5th time, January 17th. I said, it's funny how people will say that. And the first thing they'll say is, well, what did you do wrong? It's not what I did wrong. I'm married. Out of 6 relationships, serious relationships, I married 5 of them. How many times have you been married? What is the reality in getting with someone, calling somebody your boyfriend or your girlfriend? What kind of reality is that? When a person can just walk away. Yes, they can do it in marriage. I completely understand. But when somebody's your boyfriend, your girlfriend, that's all they are. You said it yourself. Girlfriend, boyfriend. No intent to marry. So when you get tired of that person, you just move on anyway. Well, now I'm good. You go back to being single, which is a lifestyle in itself. It's a lifestyle within itself. So you look at things that you get angry about, you look at the anger that you're harboring within yourself, but you still don't confront it. You see it, but you don't confront it as being the problem. You don't confront it as being the problem, and it is the problem. So it wasn't about the cheese. It was about some other stuff that I have trickling down. Funneling anger shows up when we feel the need to defend ourselves. It's a sign that something is wrong and needs our attention and consideration. Neither acting out in anger nor holding it in produces a desirable result. Right? So let's go back. Anger shows up when we feel the need to defend ourselves. Right? Why do you feel the need to defend yourself? Right? It's a sign that something is wrong and needs our attention and consideration. Neither acting out in anger nor holding it in produces a desirable result. So it's what it's saying there is what it's saying there is um, that's not the desired result. The desired result is you really want something good to come out of this. You don't want to keep going through this. You don't want to go through the conflicts and confrontations. You don't want to go through all of that. What you want to do is come clean and say, hey, this is what I want to have happen. Hold on. Are you almost done? Yeah. But it's rounding out my back. Yeah. Okay. So your desired outcome is usually that things are going to go the way you want them to go. It's going to come out this way. It's going to come out that way. Um, so we're saying that there is an intent there, but because you have this unresolved of anger, it's going to keep standing in the way of the desired outcome. So that means ultimately you're in the way of a desired outcome. You are. And this is what it says it's a sign that something is wrong and needs our attention and our consideration. So you have to figure it out. You have to pay attention to it and you have to make some consideration as to what's going to be done about this. And a lot of times, because people don't want to confront it, they rather walk away from it, only to regret it later. And this is what it was talking about early on in the article, how um, anger can put you in a situation where when you react, that it's something that's not salvageable. It's not something that you can uh, fix. It's irreparable damage. You can't go back. You can't say I apologize. You can't say, oh, I didn't mean to. You can't say any of it. You just can't. You can't. You can't. Uh, Anger demands our attention as it buries our more authentic primary emotions and prevents us from seeing ourselves and our situation clearly and understanding what is happening within ourselves. So it says it demands our attention. So how can anger be that powerful in your life that it demands attention and it gets it? And not only does it get it, it commands the outcome of the situation, right? And this is what it means by it demands a response from you, right? To look at what's going on. What's going on? Why are you reacting this way? Because I'm gonna tell you, like you, it's but so many times that I'm going to accept you saying to me, like I had a difficult childhood, or I had some previously bad relationships. It's but so many times that you can actually say that, and it's going to be accepted because it's not acceptable. You wouldn't accept that from me. So why do I have to accept it from you? Why do I have to accept the fact that you won't fix, you won't bring to resolve, right? The challenges that you have had, and still present with. How long? I don't have anything to do with that. But I'm being cold. I'm being non-compassionate when I say to you, I don't have anything to do with what somebody did or did not do in your life to make you feel the way you do. I haven't made you feel that way. Therefore, I'm not going to accept you making me feel like I need to work harder because of what somebody else did to you. It's not going to happen. It is not going to happen. And put on the other layer, because I went outside the marriage, because I went outside the relationship, committed my adultery, that's on me. It's not on you. I lost you as a result of that bad behavior. That doesn't change the fact that I am still that child's father. I am still that child's mother. That doesn't change anything other than our status. That's all it does. You still being angry about it? That's senseless. It's a bad example for the child, and it's bad karma for you because you're going to continue to act out and be abusive towards other people, right? Who may present a similar behavior. So they show a picture of the funnel of anger, right? And it's real funny. The anger, the process of understanding and processing anger is less difficult. Learning to lift the blanket of emotion of anger and explore our true feelings, right? So into this funnel goes unhappy, betrayed, unworthiness, unloved, victimized, lonely, bored. All those things I've talked about. All those things that you were subjected to, you subject others to. But all of these things go into how you really feel, right? And then it comes out with anger because you didn't express these things. You just let them funnel into your little anger pot. So you were unhappy. Did you express that you were unhappy to your partner? Did you express to them why you're unhappy? They don't know that you're unhappy in many instances because you don't know how to communicate. So it comes back to communication, effective communication. How do you communicate? Right? Did you communicate it? Like, did you come out and say, I'm not feeling fulfilled, right? I'm feeling like, we don't do enough together. Or do you just look at it, see it happen, and do nothing about it, didn't get angry about it, and then when you're asked about it, you turn around, your reaction is, well, we don't do anything. Well, I'm working all the time. Okay, so let's fix it. What about the days that you have off? What about when you get off? Can we start doing such and such? See, there's resolve there, but if you don't open your mouth first, and first of all, and say, hey, listen, I'm feeling lonely. I'm feeling like, our relationship that we're getting further and further away from. If you don't articulate that, how far do you think it's actually going to go? How far do you think it's actually going to go? You have to have that conversation. If you're feeling like you're not good enough for who? For me? Why do you feel like you're not good enough for me? Explain. Because I can change that. If I love you, if I care for you, I can change what you're feeling in terms of being made to feel like you are good enough for me, that you are enough for me, that you are what it is that I want, what it is that I need. I can change that, right? But if it has more to do with you and your comparison to others, your comparison to my exes, your comparison to, people who I work around, who work around me, people who I work with, people who are in this business that I'm partnered with, things like that. If that's the issue, if that's the issue, right, then that's what you have to deal with. That's what you have to deal with. You understand what I'm saying? That's what you have to deal with. It's not something that I need to deal with. It also talks about fear and sadness, right? What is your fear? Do you have this fear that, well, I'm not good enough, therefore, he's eventually going to leave me? How do you react to that in the relationship? You understand what I'm saying? If you're going to take this secondary emotion and allow it to be the primary, then that's going to be a problem. And that's a problem for a lot of people. A lot of people, they're so unhappy within themselves because they feel less than, because they feel unworthy, because of fear of being able to try it again, to move on, to give somebody else an opportunity without all of the barriers that they've placed before them. When you start looking at being victimized, betrayal is deep, especially for men, right? Especially for men. Men are sit on betrayal. Men will stay in that betrayal mode for a while, right? We express it differently than women, right? Women often are vengeful, often become deceitful when they're betrayed. Men, we feel that, man, and we just stuff it right in that concrete bunker, and we hold it, and we hold it, and it'll never be the same with us in that relationship. Never, never. Once a man is betrayed by somebody who he loves and respects, who he's in a relationship with, once he's betrayed, once a disloyalty rears its head, a relationship will never be the same. Will never be the same. We are almost at the hour. So here's some steps here to move through that. Step one, think of a situation in your past that made you feel angry. A time where you acted out in anger or suppressed your anger and failed to stand up by yourself. Step two, take a moment to remember that anger is a secondhand blanket emotion that stems from primary emotions, such as sadness, feeling, abandon, betrayal, all those cousins, right? Think about what contributed to your feeling of anger in that situation. Step three, using the example of that situation, place your primary emotions that led to feelings of anger at the top of the angry funnel, right? So what you're ultimately doing is you're making a funnel, with the thing you use to put oil down into the car, you use something like that, right? So down at the bottom, the end, what's coming out is anger. Inside of the funnel are your real feelings, and that's I felt betrayed, I felt less than, I felt unworthy, I, right? So all of these things went into that funnel and brought out anger. So now what you have to do is you have to look at all of the feelings and you have to break them down. Why do I feel less than? Why did I feel betrayed? And so on and so forth. That's how you begin to work through this anger. Listen, you have your own evidence. I can't sit here and tell you why you're angry. I can ask you questions. I can ask you to look at different things. As a clinician, I can ask you to look at these things. And you have to come to your own determination as to what's happening. Then my job is to guide you as a clinician through into self-discovery, right? Because there's an origination. Each one of those feelings has an origin. It has a core value, belief attached to it. Yeah. Step four, excuse me. Write down, if you wish, how you might have processed your anger had you been able to better examine, understand, and communicate your feelings. So, had you been able to express, I feel less than, I feel unworthy, I feel betrayed. Had you been able to express that, would the outcome have been different? You can't say it wouldn't because you didn't try it that way. You tried it the other way. But when you acknowledge your own feelings about a situation, and when you take your feelings and you express those feelings, your authentic feelings, to another person, that's how you make that determination. You don't make that determination simply based on what you think. Wrong answer. Step 5, put the tunnel to work. The next time you're angry with someone, take a moment to think about the feelings that have led to feeling angry. Have compassion for yourself and how you are feeling. Take the time to consider the best resolve. So what we call this in the field is rational emotive behavior therapy, REBT. So what you're actually doing is you're going to take and you're going to put an A on a piece of paper. That's called the activating event. This is what took place. Not how you saw it, not what you think, nothing. What took place. I got rear-ended by another driver. That's the event. B is the belief, right? What are all the beliefs about what took place? And I'm using this example because remember, we were rear-ended by a white driver. So when you put that B there, you're going to put those things there about your values and your beliefs, right? About the incident. This happened because this, right? They hate me. That was intentional, yada, yada, yada. Whatever it is you feel about the incident overall. It was avoidable. Whatever you want to put there, that's your belief about it. People must do this. The mustitis, the can't standitis, the shoulditis, or something else that go into there. I can't stand when people this. People must do this. People must use their signals when they're be a good idea, but must is kind of harsh. Then you have your C, which is so you have the activating event, your belief, and then C, the consequences, not of the event, of your beliefs. The consequences of those beliefs. Because remember in here it talked about the desired outcome. It always comes down to a desired outcome, right? In that situation, what was the desired outcome? To get my car repaired, right? That's the desired outcome, right? This person getting locked up, that's not for me. That's the law's decision. What they want to do about what happened. Does this person have insurance? Yeah, that means that my car is going to be taken care of. That's why I pay for insurance. If they don't have insurance, doesn't matter. I have insurance. My car is going to get taken care of. What I want is to get my car back on the road. Me addressing that person's race, me addressing whether that person is racist, none of those things matter because that's not the desired outcome. The desired outcome is my car been crashed up. I want my car fixed. End of story. So the consequences of the beliefs is important to look at because if that's all you had on there, right? If that's all you had on there, that shows you that blanket, that secondary emotion of anger. This is your anger blanket. Because the only thing I want to know is like, yo, is my insurance going to cover this? Am I going to get? Is there some financial recoup that I can get from this person running into my car? I've been injured. Am I going to get compensated for that? That's what I'm thinking about. I don't know about you, but nothing's going to matter for me if my car is not fixed. I need another car. Somebody got to do something. I need a car, right? But in most cases, that's not part of what's discussed in the beliefs. What is discussed in there now? This person gonna have to pay for my car, right? But is the focus on getting my car fixed, or is the focus on holding this person accountable? Because when you focus on always wanting to hold others accountable, how accountable are you holding yourself when you do things? See, you're good with holding other people accountable, but you don't want to be held accountable. You want to do as you damn well please. But when somebody else does the same thing, you want them to be publicly flogged. So then once you take the C, right? And you look at the consequences of those beliefs, then your D is the disputation. That's dispute the beliefs. Now you have to dispute those beliefs because now you're looking at your belief system and you're looking at how you actually think. This is how you think. Feelings are driven by thoughts. Before you feel a certain way, you think a certain way about something. So you have to dispute those beliefs because it's not about the incident. It's not about the activating event. It's about your belief system. It's about the morals, the values. It's about those things about you that you have to dispute. How long do you hold on to that thinking? How long do you hold on to the thinking that every white person is racist? How long do you hold on to that? What's the consequence of you holding on to that belief? Every man is a hoe. You hold on to that consequence. How would you ever have a successful relationship with the man if that's what you think about every man you meet? And vice versa if it's a woman. How do you think you will ever have a healthy relationship? All women are hoes. All men are hoes. So you're never going to be 100 in any relationship. But what is the feeling about that? See, now you have to go to the feeling. So the feeling about that is victimized. You still feel victimized because the last dude did it. Unhappy because now you got to come into this new relationship with that in the forefront of your mind that he's going to do it too. Not good enough, misunderstood, whole bunch of things. Afraid. So fear, anger, and resentment is now running your life because you allowed that to happen. It has nothing to do with me. You allowed that to happen. So you have to see where this cycle of being angry and keep being in these repetitive situations have more to do with you than anything else. Once you understand humanity's condition, you understand your own humanity, you see it. You have to be authentic with you. If you're still lying to yourself, that's going to be a problem for you to be able to be honest with anybody because you're still lying to yourself. You're still making yourself look like a victim. And I'm the great I am. I do everything right, Mr. Self-Righteous, Miss Self-Righteous. I'm a God-fearing man. I'm a Christian. I'm a Muslim. I'm Catholic. I'm this. We don't do this, and we don't. You're still a human being. You just chose to practice this particular religion. You're still a human being. Nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change. So until you get to the point where you're ready to be authentic, right? You have to start picking you apart. Why did I get angry? Why do I feel this way? Right? The way I feel has nothing to do with this current person. This is an unresolved of mine that I need to challenge. Why do I feel afraid? There's a core to each one of the feelings that you feel. And only you can fix it. Only you can fix it. So take a minute today. And when something happens today, I want you to use the ABCs and go online and look it up. Right? Rational emotive behavior treatment or therapy, depending on where you're at. Some use therapy, some use treatment. Right? But it's a means for you to be able to look at your beliefs about things, your values about things, and then to look at the consequences that you will continue to have in your life as long as you continue to adhere to this thinking. At 64, I still allow a new idea to be grafted upon my mind. I think things through. Do I still do stupid stuff? Absolutely. Will I continue? Absolutely. Do I do less? Absolutely. It's called wisdom. But you can't expect for your life to improve in any capacity until you start confronting yourself, look at the decisions that you're making, look at your beliefs about these things, look at the origin of these beliefs. Where did you get that belief from? Are you regurgitating what somebody else told you? Do you know for yourself that this is a fact? Feelings are not facts. Feelings are the result of thinking. And you have to understand that. Well, you don't have to understand that, but it'd be a good idea if you understood that because you'd feel a lot better about you, no matter what's going on around you. No matter what's going on around you. 2232 butterflies, what's going on? Neil 236, Miss Ice, Iceline, how are you? Riley, what's happening? You know, you have to begin to look at when you want to feel better. Are you looking for something or someone else to do that for you? Or are you taking on the challenge and doing it for yourself? If I woke up this morning in a bad space, why? If I woke up this morning feeling aggravated and irritated, why? Why? What happened yesterday? What happened during the course of the week? How did you sleep? Well, I didn't. I laid on all these pillows and I got a crook neck. Okay, so now we're finding a core. You understand what I'm saying? Now we're finding the core of this feeling, this agitated state, because I didn't sleep well. I slept on the pillow. It had my neck arched, and therefore I got this tension in my neck. That's the core of this negative feeling. What do I do about it? Well, first I understand that this is the core of it. What am I going to do about the core? Put some ice on it, put a heating pad on it, whatever remedy I come up with, right? I'll resolve it. Then what happens when this is gone? Do I still feel agitated and irritated? Maybe, because I was supposed to be somewhere 7 o'clock this morning. I can't get myself together. I can't even fix this, so now I couldn't go. Now it's 9 o'clock, so I'm 2 hours behind. So do you drag it out like that? So now you have to look at when you have feelings like agitation and irritation, it takes you a while to bounce back. Why? There's a core to that. Why does it take you so long to bounce back? You see how this rabbit hole goes? Yeah. But you need to look at the outcome. The outcome is you'll feel better about a lot of things. You'll approach things differently. And that's what it comes down to. Approaching things differently. You understand? So we are a few minutes before, but we're going to go to the music. Listen. So make sure you check out alimforyou.net. ALIM, the number 4, letter U.net. We have a ton of merchandise, customized merchandise, from buttons to shower curtains to blankets to baseball jackets to sneakers, all customized. You won't find merchandise like this anywhere. You won't find prices like ours anywhere. alimforyou.net. You must check us out. When I tell you the prices are unbeatable, compare the merchandise. The same tight boot, different design that we sell is about half the cost of what everybody else is charging. So if they're charging $105 for a pair of customized boots, we're charging probably 55. I think we're charging running like 55, $60 for the same merchandise, not the same product. The product is the outcome. The merchandise is the boot itself. The same product, the same merchandise, we're taking and we're putting our own designs on. These are custom designs. These are not designs that are AI generated. These designs are sat down and put together in PowerPoint in Photoshop, meticulously done. Things are put together where you don't see like splotches. This. We have all over prints. We have 8 by 14 prints on the front of the shirt. This is one of our shirts here. This is the Elaine shirt. You see the large logo on the sleeve, right? Good quality shirts, right? Feel cool on the body, right? I mean, just look at the flexibility of the shirt. See that? See how I'm pulling it and it's not staying creased up. See that? Look at that. These are our shirts. Polyester shirt. This is sublimation. Sublimation. We have sublimation. We have direct to film, print. Like I said, we have all kinds of merchandise. You got to check us out at alineforyou.net. But also, we'll be doing pop ups this summer. So in the next couple of months, you'll see us around at different events in Florida, uh, West Palm Beach, Florida. Probably heading down to Miami, doing some things in Tampa. Next year, we intend on going outside of Florida, to other states when they have different events. But right now, you can go to alineforyou.net, click on one of the images, and it'll take you to our sites. Listen, when I tell you we have everything, we have everything, right? If it's something that you desire to have, hit us up, make an appointment, schedule, a consultation. We do wallpaper, so we can do wallpaper for your favorite room, for your nursery, for your bedroom, for your bathroom, your little private office. We do that as well. Make sure you check us out, AlaneForYou.net. And if this is your first time tuning in to Daddy's Right Here Live, whether you're on TikTok, whether you're on YouTube, because we're recording on both at this time. If it's your first time, Daddy's Right Here is a nonprofit family services organization that seeks to decrease father absenteeism. We do workshops, lectures, seminars, classes. Uh, right now, the main outlet has been our YouTube station. We just moved into TikTok, so now we're on TikTok and on YouTube. So if you missed the show, if you missed any portion of the show, you can always go to Sabir Aleem's educational station on YouTube. There are about 400 videos. Go check them out, catch up, give your thoughts, subscribe, right? And make sure, if nothing else, every Saturday morning, 10 o'clock, you join me right here on TikTok and YouTube for a live show. None of the shows are pre-recorded. Nothing is pre-recorded. I keep an open mic. I keep a hot mic. So what I say, I mean, I stand by, I live by. Those are my values. Those are my beliefs. I ain't got nothing to hide because I don't roll like that. I don't think that way. I tell you how I think right here. If I thought otherwise, you would know. This is about personal growth and development, changing the dynamics within a relationship between a father, the mother of his children, and or the child. It's about getting better, being better today than I was yesterday. That's what this all comes down to. If it's anything other than that's a problem. That's a problem. Uh, Let me give you something to take home with you uh, for. Let me see. Here we go. Hold on. But who else we got here? Oh, we got okay videos. Here we go. Uh, Hold on, let me. So the other thing is, make sure you check out my music too. You can find my music on uh, just about every music streaming platform uh, at your disposal. I'm trying to find out why is this not coming up. YouTube. Let's see. I find that a lot of searches on some of these engines. Let's see what we got here. All right, here we go. So this song was released earlier this year, uh, and I just released another one. The title of this song is Menses. Let's check it out. Welcome to station WDWM. We don't die, we multiply where the music is good. Made just for the hood. And the old saying goes, I wish on the phone. Yeah, once again, here we are, faced with a continued dilemma. A self-imposed one, mind you. We have made the decision that the four-leaf clover, the horseshoe, the rabbit foot are going to get us through times like this. Wrong answer. The time has come for all of us God-fearing people to stand up, to stop being complicit, to stop pointing the finger and blaming, to stop riding on the narratives of people who profess to be in our best interests, who are only in their own best interest. The time has come. The time has come. It's over. Turn the TV on. 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 We know who you are, know where you be, always keeping your close eye. Friend of me, lurking like shadows, casting no light among the living dead. Spirit took flight, minds in the matrix, hearts filled with hatred, spewing meaningless words. Life of a racist, and just being served from the left and the right. Roosting chickens, mom by smite. This is who you are and always gonna be. Grooming your children, a cowardly legacy. Our team's bigger than yours. Master swift in punishment with service to the core. We're never defenseless. Soldiers in the trenches. And when the call comes, we'll flow like a menses. Our team's bigger than yours. Master swift in punishment with service to the core. We're never defenseless. Soldiers in the trenches. And when the call comes, we'll flow like a menses. Flip the script, though we never find out the hidden books and scrolls, the lies you tell, freeing us with nothing. I wandered out aimless, the stories I got, and now you're facing this chainless, mindless statements, making fake calls, inferior complex, your guns are your ball. Thought you get a pass, skin color protection, make a lot of noise over a lost election. Misfits of America, cast away remnants, democracy not a care, you're all seeking vengeance. Our team's bigger than yours. Master swift in punishment with service to the core. We're never defenseless. Soldiers in the trenches. And when the call comes, we'll flow like a man says. Our team's bigger than yours. Master swift in punishment with service to the core. We're never defenseless. Soldiers in the trenches. And when the call comes, we'll flow like a man says. Like a man said. Make sure you tune in next Saturday and every Saturday at 10 a.m. for Daddy's Right Here Live. Thanks for tuning in.
Speaking of past, you're hooked on the gas, so full of hatred, you're ready to crash. Loyal to gangs, killing your brothers, abandoning your families and still blaming others. Blinded by blame, material wealth, self-professed leaders, informants and stealth. Neighborhoods on lockdown, you can't put the Glock down. Family subsidized, doing life on the block now. No longer in shackles on the sticky pad stuck. You leave from your hood, colors and change your tuck. Acting's bigger than yours. Master swift in punishment with shirts to the core. We're never defenseless, soldiers in the trenches. And when the call comes, we'll flow like a man says. Acting's bigger than yours. Master swift in punishment with service to the core. We're never defenseless, soldiers in the trenches. And when the call comes, we'll flow like a man says.
Rest in peace, George Foreman, who passed.
Whatever simple Simon says, you're foolish and follow. Air in your head, now you sleep from the hollow. No turning back, hatred deeply embedded. Hate is a choice, indoctrinated, embedded. Choices you had, hold or fold and walk away. You opted to fight, now with the right to lay. Civil disobedience, hate's ingredients, mass protest, disturbing allegiances. The fix is in, divided to win. It's humanity's condition, not the color of skin. Acting's bigger than yours. Master swift in punishment with service to the core. We're never defenseless, soldiers in the trenches. And when the call comes, we'll flow like a man says. Our team's bigger than yours. Master swift in punishment with service to the core. We're never defenseless, soldiers in the trenches. And when the call comes, we'll flow like a man says. Our team's
Y'all have a good weekend. Peace.